All right. So if you're a member, you are qualified for a 10% discount at the glassgadget.com store. So anything in the store, except for this system, is discounted 10%. So when you join, I go in there and put your name and email address in there so that when you go to checkout, it'll just automatically add that 10% discount on your total cart. So be sure to take care of it. Take advantage of that. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, stuff that I manufacture and other tools that are just great. Um, so about the system. So the information in this program I've designed primarily to help maximize the effectiveness of a single installer. That's the way that I work, and all of my work in the industry has been mainly focused around that. How can one installer by themselves without a helper do the maximum amount of work? And so I started this up in August of last year. And, obviously there's a lot of ways to do the same thing. And if you've been a glazer for any amount of time, you've probably seen things done a lot of different ways. And my way is not necessarily the right way or even the best way, but it's just the way that I've been able to do it. And not everybody is comfortable with doing things the way that I do, but I think that if you'll check out this program, it's going to at least inspire you to get some new ideas, look at things a different way, and maybe approach your work in a more creative way. Um, it's a clinic, it's not a university. So it's like my goal is to provide you with some information that's going to immediately be helpful. It's not necessarily a step-by-step how to do everything, but I'm starting to work with these guys that glass experts, and we're talking about the possibility of putting together more of like a university type of a thing. So stick around, and see what happens. It's going to be interesting for sure. So a little about me. I'm an inventor, public speaker, and a writer. I'm recognized as a leading authority in the shower door segment of our industry. I started the Shower Door Professionals group on Facebook a little more than 10 years ago. And that's grown to be like, I don't know, like 1,400 members now. I'm also a blogger on the National Glass Association website. I produce a column in the printed issue of Glass Magazine. I'm the owner of Showcase Shower Door here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California, and I'm involved in a number of other enterprises within the glass industry. So again, I started this clinic in August of 2020 in order to share some of my ideas and techniques with interested companies and individuals within the industry. And I really appreciate you being a part of it. And I hope you get a lot out of it. So this is the SLIC clinic for January 2021. And we're going to be talking about some of the less common inline shower enclosure installations that you're going to run into. So this is going to be a kind of a catch-all for like the miscellaneous types of inline enclosures that are a little bit too custom to really fall into another category. You'll see what I'm talking about as we go along. One thing I want to talk about is frameless bifold shower enclosures. These are a good solution for an opening just where like nothing else will work. And I don't know if you've had this experience where you go into a job and whoever built the shower stall was not thinking about how they were going to do a shower door. A lot of times like the walls are not actually parallel or perpendicular to the opening. I mean, they're at weird angles, and there's a toilet right on one side, there's a sink on the other side. I mean, how are you possibly going to put anything in there? But the customer wants something. They want some glass. And in cases like that, these bifold closures can work. I think, I've done 2 or 3 of these over my whole career, installing shower enclosures. And they're very difficult to do solo. The way that the hinges work, the way that the glass overlaps, I mean, it's really tricky to get the cover plates on, and with the glasses in your way, they're a pain in the butt, believe me. But sometimes it's just the only thing that that'll work. So the hardware for these is pretty interesting. We use the Zurich series hinges from CRL. And back, I don't know, 10 years or so ago, these were really the only hinges that were strong enough to do shower doors bigger than about 36 inches wide. So now we have, other hardware for oversized doors. CRL's come out with, I think, Victoria, is that right? Hinges. I think they'll handle up to like a 40-inch door or something like that. But back in the day, I mean, this was, if you wanted to do something more than 36 inches, this was pretty much the only thing that was strong enough to do that. They're all stainless steel construction. So your choice of finishes are like brushed or polished, and that's about it. They're kind of strange too, in that the wall mount hinge either swings out or it swings in, and they're free swinging. They're not self-centering. So this first hinge is actually an in swing hinge. It will swing from, parallel to the curb to like 90 degrees into the shower. The outswing hinge looks like this. So you need a different hinge for that. And again, this will swing from, inline 180 degrees, in line with the curb, to like 90 degrees out, a little bit beyond 90 degrees, really, for the outswing. That's the Zurich 5. Another thing to take into account is that there's not much adjustment in these hinges. So, I mean, you really have to kind of nail your dimensions on these, or else they're just not going to work. You're not going to be able to adjust it very much. Same thing's true with the glass-to-glass hinges. They swing out or they swing in. I mean, it is possible to flip them upside down and kind of make them work the other way, but they're really not designed to do that. The Zurich one is actually an outswing hinge, and then the 2 is the in-swing hinge. And you can tell by looking at it that this is designed to allow the glass to kind of shingle. So there's a little bit of an overlap, so that, to kind of stop water from spraying out between the glass panels. And if you have any questions, feel free to just pipe in at any time, and I'm happy to answer them. I don't want to go too fast or anything, but it's pretty basic stuff. There is also the Zurich 7, which is just a inline 180-degree swing. It'll swing about, I don't think it swings in very far, but it'll swing out all the way to where the door folds against, the 2 panels fold in against themselves,
Brandon, what was the one we used out here in Colorado?
Which are like the Victorias, they hold a 39-inch door, and then just glass-to-glass hinges. I think we might have used the Plymouth hinges and then the Zurich hinges. I can't remember exactly.
Like that.
I think we used the Plymouths on the wall just for the bigger door, and then we did the Zurichs to hold it just for safety.
That's the only one I've ever done. This is good info.
Yeah, I mean, this really is the one-off kind of a thing. And, I suppose you could probably use regular, glass-to-glass, self-centering hinges, like Vienna, Vienna's whatever.
I've seen it done with 180s before, but then you always wonder, like, technically a door is meant, the hinges on the wall can only hold so much weight. So like, then you're hinging another panel off of that door that's even bigger. So then really you're kind of over your weight limit and your door size. But I've seen it work. I've seen people do it, but kind of a just tricky situation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can always push, the ratings a little bit. I mean, like we do. I think with the new Victoria hinges, you could get away with a lot more of that, and then just use the wall mount ones and then the glass ones. The only thing about that is, they do have the self centering unless you like disable
Yeah, take the springs
the
out of
springs, which you can always do, But I wonder how that would feel that if they were self centering, how that would work. I've never tried it, but I might try it sometime.
them.
Been known to do crazy stuff. So here's an example of one that I installed not too long ago here in Santa Cruz. 3-panel enclosure, fixed panel, mounted the wall solid, and then 2 pairs of hinges, 2 that swing in, 2 that swing out. As you see, there's a toilet like right there. So I mean, just no way to really put a hinging door in there. Too narrow of an opening for sliding doors, right? I mean, you wouldn't have enough space to get in and out. So in this case, I mean, that's a pretty good solution for a weird opening like this. Again, not easy to do by yourself. I mean, I think what I did was I put the hinging panels together and then set the pair into the opening and then fastened them. It was tricky. They did not make it easy, but
That's definitely tough to do by yourself. That's for sure.
absolutely. So I don't relish it. Another idea, something that's not super common, but definitely way more common than a bifold door is these pairs of doors. I like to call them saloon doors because they remind me of the old West, like the cowboys would go in there, they push the doors open and they close like that. People call them French doors, just, pairs of doors. They can solve a lot of these same issues, of having a weird opening or just a lack of space. If you've got fixtures that are really close outside of the shower stall, so there's not enough room for a full-size door to open up, but you want, a good clearance. A pair of doors can solve that problem. So I mean, even if you've got like a 40-inch opening, you can put a pair of 20-inch doors in there, and have a 40, almost a 40-inch clearance to get in. Whereas you definitely couldn't put sliders in there, and and sometimes the hinging door is just really impractical. So I did post a video of an installation of a pair of doors already this month, and check that out if you haven't already. I just give some step-by-step instructions on how I go about doing this and some of the pitfalls that you can avoid by just troubleshooting some things. Of course, I try to find the easiest, quickest, and cleanest way to get it done. I'm in there by myself, and I want to get it done right, relatively quickly and safely, So here's a sample of a pair of saloon doors that I installed. As you can see, these have some little square knobs. Some of the benefits are that they allow you to create, a larger opening to pass through, like I was talking about earlier, and make crowded spaces easier to navigate. Another cool feature is that you can install these without having to drill into the curb, which is kind of a big, hot button topic these days. I mean, people are really wanting to avoid drilling down, which, it doesn't bother me. It's like I don't mind drilling into the curb or the floor at all. If there's radiant floor, that's something, that gets a little sketchy, and you want to make sure where that's at before you start drilling holes and stuff. But yeah, that's a cool feature. I mean, you don't have to drill into the curb at all. That you just everything's mounted on hinges, free swinging. And a really cool thing is that they really don't require pulls to operate. I mean, you can just push one leaf in, grab the edge of the other one and pull it out, or you can just push through like a cowboy in a Western, you know, do all that, man. Definitely come out like that, you know, it's come out swinging. But that's cool. And that's a real selling point. You know, I tell people, it's like, hey, you know, a lot of times we're having that conversation, that consultation. It's like, yeah, well, I don't know what to do here. It's just because of this or that, you know, and this idea occurs to me. I'm like, hey, have you ever thought of this? And they never have. And it's really, it's not super uncommon, but it's unique enough to where it's really appealing to people. They're like, oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, you'll be the only one on the block who has something like this. And yeah, and you can get away without using any hardware at all. And here's a couple of it, more installations. The one on the left you can see is like that. I mean, it doesn't have any knobs. So some people think that's a really cool idea, you know, or you can, you know, put towel bars on there. You can put as much hardware as you want. We'll give you all the hardware you want. We'll give you double hardware if you want, because that's just how we roll. So that's a good solution. I did an Essence series installation this month. And these don't come around very often. This is a really cool product. It's innovative, and that really appeals to me, you know, as an innovator. So I like things that are cool and kind of novel like this. This came out several years back. It never really took off the way that I thought it might. People really don't like that stuff at the bottom. They really don't like a threshold on the floor, and that's really kind of the deal killer. But it's just awesome that you could have a sliding door with no header at all. I mean, I think it's great. So this lady, she wanted to spend some money. I mean, there was just no doubt. She was like, hey, what's the best thing? What's the, you know, I was like, oh, you can get one of these. I showed her a picture and she fell in love with that. So it was, you know, Starfire glass, 1/2-inch glass, you know, and she was really happy about it. So I'm not going to go into this anymore right now, but I do have a video that I'm putting together for later in the month. It's going to show the installation. I even ran into a little issue that's not uncommon with these enclosures, and showed you how I go about taking care of that. So it was a little bit of Frankensteining on the job, so that's kind of fun to catch. So one other kind of unusual inline enclosure that I haven't seen in a long time is a glass-to-glass hinge door installed in a U-channel system. Now, back years ago, 10 or more years ago, U-channel was really popular. People really didn't like the glass clamps as much. And there was a period where they felt like, oh yeah, that kind of had a bulky look that they were looking for. They kind of liked that U-channel, that kind of more clean, low profile look. And so the trick was like, how do you install a glass-to-glass hinge in a U-channel system without a header? And how do you get that fixed panel to support the weight of the glass of the door? So what people were doing was they were actually filling that channel with silicone, setting the glass, the fixed panel, and then like coming back a couple days later and hanging the door. Yeah, the silicone is definitely strong enough to hold the door, but it's, you know, not a very efficient way to do it. So this is an enclosure that I did here in Santa Cruz about 10 years ago, and it's a curbless enclosure. Yeah, the homeowners really didn't like the idea of clamps. They wanted channel. And you can't see it, but just to the left there, there's one of those heated towel racks. So they needed a little panel to allow the door to miss that when it opened. And so rather than using silicone, doing that, setting it, coming back a couple days later, I decided to use this stuff, Loctite epoxy. This stuff is like pretty incredible. So the 5-minute epoxy holds 3,200 pounds per square inch. That's what they claim. So a door, as you know, is probably 100 pounds at the most. I mean, if it's a half-inch door, a good size half-inch door is 100 pounds, maybe a little bit more. So really, theoretically, 1 square inch of surface will easily hold a 100-pound door. Well, what I will do is I'll take a tube of this, and it comes in a syringe. You put the syringe together, and it auto mixes it together. And I'll install the channel, and then I'll run a bead of the epoxy all the way down one side of the channel, all the way down the other side. Use the entire tube in the channel, and then set my glass in there. And the 5-minute epoxy gives you 5 minutes of working time, so you need to be ready to go. The 1-minute stuff, I don't recommend that. It's like 1 minute's not enough time. But the 5-minute is really plenty of time. It takes a minute or two to put the glue in there, set the glass in place. You have to make sure that you get it exactly where you want it the first try, because there's no moving it. The only way to get the glass out again is like, I don't know. I've never tried to get it back out again. But I think maybe.
I was going to ask you, have you ever had to pull a piece out after that?
I never have, but I did have the customer call me, and it's interesting. It wasn't this customer, but it was another customer that I have that's a repeat customer. And out here, we've got a few people who, they own, multiple homes and stuff like that. They're, more affluent people. But anyway, he called me and he was like, "Hey, how do I get this out of here?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, there's a couple things you could try. I mean, you could try like a multi-tool. Take a multi-tool and just try to get it in between the channel and the glass, and cut that loose. It's on both sides. You might be able to do that without breaking the glass. Or, I mean, he was going to replace the tile anyway. It's like, yeah, if you're going to replace the tile anyway, just get a putty knife or something back there, find out where the screws are, and just take a Sawzall, get it in there, cut the screws off. And that's another thing. It's like, I use a lot of screws. I'll use like a half dozen, number 10 screws, or so in that channel, because you have to make sure you've got plenty of, shear strength back there. The glue will hold. I mean, it's like, by the time you put a whole tube of this, I figure there's like, if you've got an 80-inch channel and you run a bead of glue on both sides, that's 160 inches times like 3,200 pounds. I mean, you could hang your whole house off of that thing.
I just wanted to know how you're running a clean bead with that tube right there.
It's pretty easy, actually. It's viscous.
Okay.
It's very viscous.
Molasses.
It is, so I mean, it's really not that hard to do. And I'll run it kind of in the middle of the channel, so that you have room. So if you set the glass in and get some of the glue and you have to pull it back out a little bit, you don't want that to ooze out and show, of course, So I mean, it's a delicate task, but it's 5 minutes working time. It sets. You can actually use it in 20 minutes. So 20 minutes is enough time to wait before you set the glass. It hardens 100% in 24 hours, but within 20 minutes, believe me, all that glue is holding plenty strong enough. So that's an option. I haven't done it again in years. The channel is kind of out of style now. People really like the clamps, so that's what's in vogue. So I haven't had to do anything like this.
We sell more channel in Colorado than we do clamps all day. It's kind of crazy.
Isn't that interesting? And it's just, it is a cultural thing, and it depends on where you're at too.
The designers, we'll notice that designers these days will push more towards channel in the lighter colors like brushed nickel and chrome. And then kind of, if it's not hard lines and like a grid style shower, they'll kind of more or less want like clamps for like the oil rub blondes and black, because it's not as defined, Yeah, but kind of see a trend with like different colors on channel and clamps out here, which is from Austin, it was like a totally different market. But I think even Brandon and Phoenix does a lot of channel showers too.
Yeah, it's weird here. If I back up to here, you can see this is chrome channel.
Yeah.
And the thing about chrome channel is like it has that mirror finish to it and it like disappears. It's almost like in the photo you almost can't even see it
Yep.
because it has that kind of magic mirror effect to it. So I mean, I can see why someone would like that, because you know, it just doesn't show as much.
Have y'all tried the? 'Cause I always hear people talking about it, but personally have no experience. The RTV or RTV silicone or something that's like a high bond height or something like that.
RTV is all that I use.
Yeah, really.
Yep, clear RTV, and it's like the CRL brand is a little bit cloudy.
Yeah.
And some people kind of complain about that, but I actually like it. Because it actually covers a little bit of, inconsistency. I mean, if there's, it hides a little bit of stuff and it's still clear. I mean, that's it. Whereas like clear silicone, you can see if there's some irregularity or inconsistency under the silicone, you can see it right through the silicone.
Mm-hmm.
With RTV, it's just cloudy enough to where it looks invisible and yet it's still hiding a little bit of stuff. It's amazing. And the durometer of it, is just perfect. I mean, it's just the right amount of expansion and compression, and it sticks to almost everything. I mean, it'll even stick to plastic. It'll stick to itself, which I mean, they say it doesn't, but it really will. I mean, it'll actually stick to itself. At least the CRL brand does. So I love it. The downside to RTV is that it skins super quick,
Yeah.
like 10 seconds or something. So if you don't tool it within 10 seconds, you're kind of screwed. It's messed up. But
We use the Dow Corning out here. Okay.
now,
Yeah.
yep.
It's expensive. We'll use Tremco or CRL 33.
Yeah.
We'll use RTV for structural stuff.
Mhm.
Like if we were to hinge a panel in channel, which we don't really anymore at all. We just don't recommend it. But we would use RTV in the channel instead of regular silicone for that type of stuff. But
yeah. Another cool thing about RTV is the smell isn't nearly as bad as 33. Doesn't have that strong vinegary smell.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I say, I haven't done it, and I probably I wouldn't recommend it either, Brandon. But but that's an example of something that's kind of random and off the beat path. Another thing that's a little bit unusual is using fixed transoms as header support, and this is something that's becoming more popular in our industry, and it's pretty cool. Here's an example of one where it's a wall-mounted transom. Sorry, it's kind of dirty and it doesn't look that great, but this transom's attached to the wall on the left, and it's supporting that panel on the right, which is it's bigger than the 22-inch recommended width.
Yep.
For a door, to hinge, from a panel. So yeah, just the addition of that transom, just gives it that little bit of extra strength without having to have, a metal header up there. And people really like to have that kind of an option, And a lot of times the way to sell this is just say, hey, this is the situation. I mean, you're going to need a header at the top of this in order to support this glass. And they're like, oh no, really? I don't want to do that. That sucks. And you're like, well, hey, there's a possibility we could do this. And then when you offer it as a solution, I mean, once they've gone to that dark place, like, oh no, man, I'm going to have to do that. That sucks, well, there's a possibility we could do this. What is that? Oh, really? Wow. Because it's going to be more expensive than a header, right? So, so that kind of helps you close the deal on that upcharge.
So, and
And
the cool thing is Showers Online won't throw a code for a glass header either, or a fixed transom like that. When I thought for sure that Showers Online was going to throw a code for that, and it didn't throw a code. I was shocked that it didn't throw a code.
yeah, yeah,
or a warning, I should say.
yeah, right. And even if you use 3/8 glass instead of 1/2 inch glass,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
I call it a ghost header. And customers
Ghost header.
are like, ooh, what's that? And then
Ghost header.
I explain it to them that, oh yeah, that sounds cool. You have any pictures? But like kind of just like gave it a name, and people kind of really appealed to that. And I do the same thing. Like, we're gonna have to put a header up there to support this thing. You know, but then, or we could do this, we could put a ghost header, and they're like, what's a ghost header? And it turns into a good little sale there.
I like that. I'm going to use that. I wrote it down.
That means something.
Right on, man. Yeah. Yeah. So here, here's an example of a pretty big enclosure that we did that with, and they were stoked. They just absolutely loved it. They definitely did not want the header at the top, and just being able to offer this, made a big difference. It's a little bit asymmetrical, which kind of but bothers me a little bit, but not too bad, and they thought they liked it a lot. And then, I'll bet you're wondering, how do you get that header in there, that transom by yourself, and attach those clips. I've actually got a little video that I'll post, showing you how I do that. My little trick for how to do that solo. So stay tuned. Well, all right. Hey, yeah, that's my presentation. Want to just leave a little bit of time for some questions and answers, if there are any.
I think just one of my favorite other ones is the sleeve over, the PPH07s, for like those kind of weird layouts. Like sometimes when someone has a bench on one side, but that bench shouldn't have been all the way to the edge. They should have done a corner bench or something. So you could have had a wall mounted door right there. So then you have and then the vanity or the toilet is on the other side. So you kind of like, too small for a slider, right? Same kind of difference. So do like a really small, we'll do like 22, 24, 26 inch doors with the PPH07s, where it's like a 3-panel and the center hung. And those are pretty nice too.
That is nice. That reminds me of something I saw Brandon posted, where I think they used those for a vent or something. You know what I'm talking about, Brandon?
Yeah, we used a Primus for a vertical vent. Yeah. So the cool thing about the PPH07s is it's essentially, you have a Prima hinge, top and bottom hinge, but it has a clamp that's welded onto it that clamps onto the top of the glass. So it's glass to glass hinge. So the cool thing about that compared to the old school 180 glass to glass hinges, well, instead of having the whole weight of the door hinging off the panel, your door is anchored into the curb or the tile, and just the top is pivoting on that door. So it's a lot stabler than just the whole glass hinging off that door. So that's what's cool about, and it's really not that much more expensive to do it that way than it is to do glass to glass. You want to talk an easy install, especially a one-man install. It's a lot easier to do that install than it is to do the glass to glass, because literally you drill your bottom hinge and put it in, and then you open it up or set your door from the inside, and literally just hold the top of your clamp and tighten that down, and the door is done. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Those are nice. It's like I'm trying to think of what the part number is, but it's is it the 07 that attaches to the glass, to the fixed panel, and then That is that one, yeah.
The PPH 07, and then they got the PPH 135 that does a neo angle.
Right. Because like the 07, the cool thing about that too is that you can use it at the top and the bottom.
Yeah, so little trick with it being at the top and the bottom. CR Lawrence on Showers Online will not allow you to put it on the bottom unless you physically put the cutout on the bottom yourself.
I know.
They want you to use a PPH 01 with a clamp separate, and it looks dumb. But if you do the work and know how to use Showers Online, you can put a PPH 07 on the bottom and the top, which to me is way stabler than doing it the other way. And it just looks cleaner because it matches.
And I mean, because the terrible thing about an 01 is that getting those holes laid out right. I mean, it's easy enough to use, but like it's almost impossible. I mean, there's such a short distance. If you don't get them perfectly in alignment, you know, it ends up cocked just a little bit, and that sucks. I hate that.
And I'm surprised they don't have the PPH 07 where you can use it on Showers Online, because they do have a cutout for it for the bottom of the glass in the cut sheets, you know, in the specs for the hinge.
Right.
So
and maybe we should talk to them about that.
I did, and they
put a little bit of pressure on them.
I tried. I'll probably talk to them again, but I tried before, and they're like, "Yeah, we just haven't got around to it," or something like that. And you know how CR Lawrence works.
yeah, I tried it too.
So
yeah, those guys. Yeah, great tip. Yeah, I love that. So it's just you just have to kind of build your own cutout on the bottom.
Yep. So what I do, an easy way to do it is literally I'll take a picture of I'll go to the cutouts, and I'll go to the top cutout on Showers Online, and I'll take a screenshot of it. So then I'm adding a cutout. I literally just copy what is on the screenshot for the bottom of the hinge. So I know all the numbers that you got to add in there for the hole size, for the notch, for everything. So literally just take a screenshot of the top cutout and match it for the bottom. Just type in all the numbers, and it's good because it's a two-part system. It's the cutout for the door, and then the cutout for the hinge, and a two-part system on the cutout.
Right, and then you have to account also for the gap spacing, right?
It's a bigger gap, so it's 5/8 underneath, a 5/8 undercut under the door instead of a 7/16 undercut.
Right, and then the top cutout is actually made so that it comes up flush with the top.
You can do the flush cutout, or you can do it to where it sits on the top. And usually when I see people and it's sitting on the top, they accidentally forget to do the flush cutout for it, but the flush cutout looks really clean.
The first one I ever ordered, we ordered it wrong because we didn't know. I got it from one of your Instagram posts, and I wanted it, and it came out up top. And luckily, I mean, not luckily, but then the door had a big gap anyway. So I was like, I'll just reorder the door, and then I did it with the right cutout or whatever, you know. But yeah.
So you like it not coming up to the top of the clip, doesn't it? Doesn't it end up being lower than the fixed panel?
Flush across. Looks so clean.
It does. You do want it flush across. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But the first time I didn't do that.
You can get it to where the block of the hinge, you know, the block of it is actually setting above the door, like it would if you were to do top and bottom pivots into the ceiling.
Right.
You would have that gap right there. They have a cutout to where it looks like that, which I don't even know why they even offer that. They should all just only be a flush cut, and then it looks good. The only bad thing about the flush cut is they have a radius for the glass when they're drilling it, so it doesn't blow up. So sometimes if it's too much of a radius, you go in there with a little wand sander, and you can square it up a little bit better so it looks a little cleaner.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've heard of it blowing up because if it's rounded and it's too tight in there and you go to open that door and you're not paying attention and that hinge hits in that thing and pops the door.
That sucks.
So,
I hate it when that happens.
I had a buddy tell me it happened to him the other day.
Ah, man.
So.
Yeah. You know, because that's one of the main reasons that I don't use the Primus more. And actually, I like the Cardiff better because it's square, you know.
Yeah.
But same difference, you know. But yeah, the only reason I don't use it more is because of that. And I just need to sit down. I've been lazy. I need to sit down, do the work, make up the cutout, And another cool thing you can do in Showers Online is once you do it once, you can save that as one of your templates.
Yeah, exactly.
So just go back or just, save it as, give it the name of, sample, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then you can easily find it and use that, to make your new thing from.
So another little trick that we do when we're hanging doors on panels, we will, even if it's a 3/8 shower, we'll always do a 1/2-inch panel on the fixed panel and do 3/8 on the rest. Because really, a customer doesn't know. I mean, you're talking a 1/16 on each side of the glass that you're really not going to know on the hinge side. But we let them know that we do a 1/2-inch panel for stability, and it just works so much better to do a 1/2-inch panel instead of 3/8.
Yeah, I do that too. I mean, do you do that even if you use a ghost header?
No, we would just use all the same glass.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I do the same thing. I always use 1/2 inch. I never try to hinge a door off a 3/8 panel.
We had a cool shower with the ghost header, and we had to change the design. It would have been really cool. It was in the bathroom, and it was an inline, but they wanted to come off the walls 12 inches and then do the inline across it, so it popped out of the wall. But they had a heated floor, and they had pictures, and then they couldn't remember exactly where it was, so then we couldn't drill down into the floor right there, so we had to drill more in towards the shower. But
yeah.
But going back to your thing on the saloon doors being not drilling into the tile, on a lot of our showers, we don't drill down. We use VHB tape and tape channel down, unless it's clamps. So we'll VHB tape channel down and only drill in verticals for that reason. Back, it was probably, I don't know, 15 years ago. We had an issue in San Diego drilling down, and every time we drill down, we fill the hole with silicone and put your plugs in, right? And then you put silicone on the plug and screw into it. Well, there's a special silicone you're supposed to use for the membrane, the waterproofing membrane, because the regular silicone RTV would be fine, but the regular 33S, it actually, when they pulled it up, it actually was eating away the membrane underneath the tile.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, you can even put RTV on the back of a mirror, and it won't eat the backing of a mirror. Yeah,
because of the acidity, it's a low acidity compared to the regular. That's why they say like when you're doing mirror, use a colored silicone. If you're not using RTV, use black, use white, use something, because it's not the same as clear. It has that I think it's the acidity in it that will eat it. So
yep, I think you're right. Yeah, and I like to do the same thing, or even like again, the epoxy. I'll epoxy down the channel rather than if I can avoid drilling down, I will.
Yeah,
I mean, because why not? I mean,
well, perfect example. We had a shower door in Colorado. We had to go rip out because it's leaking, and it's leaking through your channel and going into the tile and popping all these tiles. We're like, but it's not leaking through our channel. We put tape down. It's not even, there's no holes in there. So we pulled it out, and they're like, oh yeah, our drain's wrong. So water everywhere. So
then you had to give them a bill, right?
Right, exactly. We rip it out, get a bill to reinstall it. It wasn't our fault. So.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
cool. Where are these other guys are out there? You guys have any questions? Got some real experts right here, man. Can tell you what's going on.
I just installed a panel the other day that was hinging off the glass. We don't do many here in Austin. I'm actually really a helper. Started out late last year. I've been working with Chris. Chris Lugo here in Austin as my partner. Just worked with Ben yesterday for about the first time, and we just did one the other day that was hinging off the glass, and it was a 3/8 inch panel that we were hinging off of, but it was only about 4 inches wide. Is that standard, do you think, or would that regularly be a 1/2 inch?
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to use a 1/2 inch panel, and even, but I mean, yeah,
I think it's rule of thumb through Showers Online with the warnings is 12 inches for 3/8 and 22 inches for 1/2 inch is the max. So, but usually something like that small, 4 inches, I don't really think a 1/2 inch panel is going to make a difference. It's going to be, the rigidity is going to be there. It's not really going to hurt it at all. So, but if it's Usually when it does get to 12 inches, I still do 1/2 inch. But if it's a smaller panel, you're not going to get the flex out of it like you would a wider panel.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, and I've seen plenty of showers, you know, that I've gone to, you know, take out or work on or whatever back in the past that were 3/8 side light, and they worked fine, you know. But
Have you ever installed a frameless 1/4 inch shower with Junior Genevas?
no.
I've done it once.
I feel like I'm at like a Glass Anonymous meeting. Yeah. I'm Brandon, and I installed one of those.
Yeah. They ripped it out shortly after it was installed and put a 3/8 in. So
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
it's
awesome.
funny. It is, man. I mean, I love it. You know, it's like, it's funny when I started doing shower doors, dude, I was a commercial glazer. And it's like, you know, how hard could it be to do shower doors? I mean, you know, I've been doing curtain wall and, you know, my whole life, you know, and then but it's a lot different, man. And I can remember having a conversation with a homeowner and them asking me a question, and I'm just like, I didn't know the answer. And he could tell I didn't know the answer. He was like, "Oh, you really don't know, do you?" Dude, I've got like 20 years experience in the glass industry. Yeah, I don't know.
This is cool. We got to get more people in here. Get the
Yeah.
conversations rolling. You know, this is
Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys are gonna be showing up on a monthly basis?
yeah. Heck yeah.
Wow. That's
yeah, I'm gonna have
awesome,
my
man.
guys. I'm gonna have my guys jump on some of them. I picked and choose who I wanted to come on. I got a couple guys that are loudmouths.
I think like that. I think that this is a great thing for all installers, even like, because I mean, you saying that you installed bifold shower doors today by yourself, and you got guys on here that are partners that complain about jobs and stuff like that. That just goes to show perspective of like getting the job done. So I think there's tons of value to be had here. And then with Brandon's kind of back and forth stuff, yeah. I mean, I learned some stuff.
Installing 1/4 inch frameless shower doors.
Yeah, proud moments.
1/4 inch frameless. That's right.
It was a neo angle too.
Wow. Yeah. I know
Yeah,
they make hardware for it, you know, so
it costs just as much as the Geneva, like the bigger stuff.
you know, it's funny you mentioned that, you know, because it's like what I've realized here recently is framed enclosures, we call those manufactured. So when we're talking to our customers, that's the vocabulary we use. We say, you know, frameless or manufactured. And that's you know, tub enclosure, framed shower door, whatever. And what I've found out, you know, especially after working solo for you know, a few years, it's like it I can't really do a manufactured enclosure for any cheaper than a frameless one. Frameless is so fast to install, and the materials really aren't much more expensive.
And that's why I pushed that from the beginning. I didn't do framed, and I would tell people, I can quote you a frame shower, but it's going to be like the same price, so you might as well go with the frameless. I said the cost of aluminum compared to the cost of glass, and then the labor time. Like, yeah. I know people say, "Oh, I can install a frame shower in 10 minutes," but like, yeah, you can install a frameless way faster than you can a frame shower, especially a 90-degree frameless compared to a 90-degree frame shower. I mean, running all that vinyl. And if it's a one-man show and you're trying to run vinyl and push it in on both sides, and it's a nightmare to get your vinyl right. So
yeah,
we don't install frame showers at all.
No, yeah, I've really moved away from it. I mean, I say no to so much. You know, it's like I don't want to say no to everything because then I won't have any work. But
right.
But I'm getting close.
You say more no's than yes, huh?
I do, you know. I mean, that's the great thing about working by yourself is that, you know, there's only enough for me to go around. So
yeah,
and people seem to want me to do stuff.
Yeah,
it's a good life. I love shower doors.
Right?
They are awesome, man.
Cool. Well, James, do you have a question or no? Do you have any questions? If you're still there. You're muted if you're saying anything.
Hey, just so y'all know, that's the belt winner right there.
Yeah, he won the belt.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude, I am so jealous, man.
that's the belt winner.
That belt is
Where's
so
our belt?
cool.
Hey, I just had a good team behind me. That's all.
Humble too. Oh man, I like that.
Well, I was doing mechanic work for quite some time before I switched careers, and I should have done this a long time ago and changed careers because I love doing this stuff now.
It is mechanic work.
Yeah, but I don't have to worry about cars anymore.
Yeah, it's not as greasy.
Exactly.
It's pretty
So-
clean. It's pretty clean mechanic work.
Except
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah,
when
my
we
wife
have
likes to do.
mechanic stuff done, it says, "Hey James, can you do it for us?"
Yeah.
Every shop has one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mind a bit. Don't mind a bit.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, that's what the old timers would say is they remember you ever hearing that? And I know you guys have like, oh yeah, he's a good mechanic, you know, I mean that, you know, he's a problem solver.
Yeah.
We were talking to people in New Jersey just the other day, and he was calling all of his hands mechanics. He was like mechanics, and then I got the office people, and like that was the lingo.
It's a real compliment to be called a mechanic by
And
by
then Glass
Glazer
Doctor calls all their guys technicians.
Yeah,
technicians.
that's how my uncle always referred to everyone as technicians. And then
Yeah.
the office calls them techs, and I changed it to team.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I know what I call my the guys at my shop. Leads and apprentices.
All right.
You try
Cool.
to get away from helpers, you know. Just I feel like it's kind of
Yeah, I
demoralizing.
don't really like the word helper either. I always try to change it, but like the guys in the shop always keep it that, you know.
Mhm.
Right. They like to use that.
Yeah,
We're
it's
partners.
The lead hands always call the other guy a helper, you know.
Yeah.
Partner. I like that. That's got a good sound to it. Partner, you know.
Yeah.
Or apprentice is that's a good one, man.
Mhm.
Because it kind of gives a guy some ownership.
Yeah, because anyone we hire, if we're hiring someone that essentially is a helper in the beginning, like it's an apprenticeship. Like we're hiring you because we want you to learn and become a lead installer. We don't want helpers around. I mean, we've had glorified helpers and they were good at what they did, but they weren't going anywhere in the company. And then it's no good for them if they can't move up. So
Exactly.
Good point.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, hey, that's awesome, man. Thanks for showing up, you guys.
yeah. We'll see you next month.
Yeah. Well, hey, we should plan to do this on do a quick Facebook thing.
Yeah.
Just like go live to Facebook from one of these things.
Logan, did you join Shower Door Professionals on Facebook?
No, sir, I have not. I actually haven't been on Facebook much recently, but I will definitely 100% hop on that after this.
I don't get on there at all, but I get on just to check out. Like I literally follow 2 people. I think my wife and Brandon and Rob maybe.
Had you texted that link to our group chat?
I have not, but he could even save it. Could you share the Shower Door Professionals link in the chat right
Oh, I
here?
bet you I can.
how about that wine cellar I posted yesterday, Chris?
Dude, that's awesome, man. I love it.
That thing was sweet.
Totally.
I-
Yeah, let me s-
I mean, I'll point out that I text my team to come on this, and Logan is my newest installer, and he's the one to show up, and then James is learning the industry still too, and he shows up. So that shows a lot from you guys.
Yeah.
Hey man, it shows a lot from you guys to be able to do something like this. This is a lot of perspective that I myself especially do not have any knowledge of. And
we get no credit. With no credit for this. This is all Mr. Chris over here.
Hey,
You guys.
it's the trio. Anybody here to participate is, I mean, any knowledge that I can soak in is wonderful. So this is a great opportunity to be able to indulge this kind of experience and not have to do much else except show up.
No, they're going to be good. It's a lot of different stuff because even some of the stuff Chris talked about today, I didn't know. Like,
I would have been scared shitless to put epoxy and channel on the shower.
I was almost.
I would have been like, is there going to be like some kind of bonded, like the, you know, some kind of like explosion's going to happen from the chemical reaction or something? That would have been my luck.
Yeah, I was almost afraid to tell you guys about it, but I thought, what the heck? I'm just gonna put my neck out.
Dude,
The stuff I do with epoxy, man, you wouldn't believe it. It's
that was
amazing
my
stuff.
grandpa with silicone.
Have you ever UV glued cow bars on shower doors?
Yeah, I have. You know, it's like, man, I don't have that.
I think I'm like 2 for 4. Two for 4.
I'm not very good. That stuff doesn't work very good for me. I don't know if it's me or if it's just.
It's tough. Like,
man, it really
and
is.
my dumb ass, like back in the day, you know, you don't want to reorder because you don't want to lose money. So I had a Herculite door, and I forgot to order holes for the handle. So I tried to. This is a Herculite door to go into an elevator room in a medical building. Like, so it's a lot of people are going to use it, and I UV'd the handle onto the door thinking it was going to stay on there, and it came off. And they're like, "Hey, the handle came off the door." I'm like, "Oh yeah." Vendor forgot to put holes in it, so I already got another one on order.
I'm going to eat dinner, fellas.
I posted that link to the shower door pros in the chat.
Yes, sir. I actually have already requested to join that wonderful group right there.
Here,
So.
let me get you in there right now, then.
Hey,
all right,
rock on.
You are
you guys
approved.
Have a great night, man.
Later,
guys,
sir. Thank you for having me.
See you next time. Thanks for coming.